Hey everybody, David here from Learn Stage Lighting, and in this video I'm going to show you how to use the Onyx Fixture Finder. Now, if you're new to Onyx or using any other lighting console, this is actually a really powerful tool that you can use for any lighting console, like I said, if you need to find a fixture. So you're trying to control some light that you've got, or you walked into a venue or you're preparing for a gig where somebody else is providing some of the lights, and there's a light that you can't find inside of your console. How do you figure out if there's another lights profile that you could possibly use? This is often the case with a lot of imported, less expensive lights. They may have been sold under different names by different brands, and there might be a perfectly useful profile inside your console. You just don't know what to look for. Well, this little application found at onyxfixturefinder.com, it's a web page application, shows you what matches. And I want to show you some really great tricks here. So this is built based on the fixtures that are inside of Onyx. But if you've got another console, you can still totally use this. And then the third step you'll have to take is you'll just have to see out of the matches what is in your console. If you're using Onyx, anything that shows up here is in your console. So what we see here is, first we have this area up here with the manufacturer, fixture name, and DMX channel count. Now, if you're trying to match a light that you don't have a name brand for, or nothing's coming up inside your console, don't fill out these first two, the manufacturer and fixture name. That's my biggest recommendation. Is I usually don't fill those out. What I do instead is I set the number of DMX channels. So let's just say we have a 14 channel light. So I've gone ahead and I've typed that in. And what the fixture finder is going to do now is it's going to start showing me things that match. So here on the right, I see everything that's a 14 spot fixture, a 14 channel fixture. If I click on one of these, it'll show me the channel count. And as we narrow down, you see the channel counts in here. So now we need to begin to narrow things down. So the first thing I'm going to do to narrow things down is enter in the types of channels that are very consistent between different lights, okay? Sometimes the naming of certain channels is really not the same from one brand to another, with things like strobes and effects channels and functions and control channels. Some of that stuff, a shutter versus strobe, etc., can get mixed up, and so we're not going to enter those. But what we are going to enter is say intensity. Then maybe we've got a pan fine, and then tilt fine. And then maybe after that, I'm looking at my results here because I'm just making this up on the fly. But say after that, we go ahead and we've got color somewhere. So let's just, for kicks, go in here. And none of these have color mixing. So let me go ahead and I'll just leave it here. But I would go ahead, if I have like RGB colors or CMY or even a color wheel, that would be, I'll type here and I'll just see color. I would go ahead and enter those in. But don't enter things at this point like strobe, like shutter. As I scroll down this, you could enter gobos and prisms, but I would avoid that for now, because this is really the way that I like to use this right now is like, hey, I'm on a gig, I'm about to do a gig, I need to find a profile for this light, I don't have one. And so once you've narrowed the profiles down to just a handful, you now know, okay, all of these are the correct channel count, so that's important. But now to make my light work, I just need to find something that matches up. So like if I look at this first one for the ETC Source 4 Revolution, it matches, of course, the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 channels are going to match. And so I can see that those match, but then I'll see 7 is focus, 8 is zoom, 9 is pan tilt speed, 10 is color speed, and on and on. And I can begin to look at these and say, well, could these match? Especially for things like shutter here, especially, focus sometimes even, or like reserved one. If you have a fixture that has the same DMX channels, they might have called some of these things different. So if you think it might work, you might as well give it a try in your console. Another thing you can do is say none of these match up. Well, maybe I go ahead and I just hide the oops. I deselect, go back to any, which is at the top for these fine channels, and then I might get more options, or I might change. Maybe I've got a different mode that this light has. Maybe it does intensity, then pan, then tilt. And so this is just what I'm trying to show you basically is this is just a really great tool where you can go ahead and begin to play around in here when you need to find a profile for a light, and you can hopefully find the one that you want. And then if you're using Onyx, these are in your console. And if not, you can look at your console and see if any of these names of brands and fixtures show up. And then you've got something that you can try to use to get it working. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, be sure to subscribe and click that bell so that you get the very latest videos. Also, head over to LearnStageLighting.com because I want to get a free guide in your hands to begin with lighting. Then I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks.